If Ford engineers back in 1972 had access to some of today's technology, is this how they would design it? We think so. Let us know in the comments. We're going to go through this thing. Now, we get comments all the time. Oh, you should lift that thing. Oh, you should put big wide tires on it. But that's not necessarily what Velocity does. We go about building a truck with the intention of respect to the original classic styling. So we think back to what would the engineers do if they were designing this truck in 1972 with some of today's technology available to them. And so that's the reason why we build them the way we do. 1972 classic Ford F250 Highboy. We've got Pacific Blue on the top because it's a heritage edition. We have Wimbledon white two-tone on the bottom. You can see that we kept the classic aluminum, polished aluminum grille, the Ford badging across the front. We think that this really pays homage and respect to the original styling, and we absolutely love how we packaged this truck together. One of the things they didn't have access to back in the 70s was today's LED technology. These would have originally been halogen lights, and light output was mediocre at best. We've gone with a Holley Retro Bright LED headlight, so it has LED functionality, visibility, reliability, but it's still in a kind of a classic original style housing. So it looks like it belonged on this truck, even though you get LED technology for today. It's safe to say that the Ford engineers would have used LED technology back in the day if they had access to it. So that's one of the reasons why we went with this. Another thing we feel like Ford engineers would take advantage of would be the Wilwood disc brakes all the way around. And then also for a styling cue, we've got 18-inch steel wheels. The original would have been a lot smaller, but we took kind of the original style, expanded out a little bit. 18s wrapped in 33-inch MTs. Now, because this is a Heritage Series, we've got the Velocity billet package on the side marker, door handles, some more on the inside we'll touch on a second. We've got these California West Coast style mirrors on the outside. And then let's move to the back a little bit. Down on the bed, you can see that we've got this belt line trim running all the way down. It adds excellent kind of an accessory, a great way to break up the two-tone. And then part of that Velocity billet package is this rear tailgate handle that we CNC machine in-house that has a built-in backup camera to it. You can also see that we brought the chrome trim as part of an accessory piece around the panel here, and then the Ford badging plate in the center. Dropping the tailgate, you can see that we have color matched Raptor liner back here, so that means that this can still be used as a truck if you want to. You can take it to Home Depot or Lowe's, you can load some stuff in the back. You don't have to worry about scratching or damaging the bed sides versus if it had a traditional painted bed. Two other things we feel like the Ford engineers would have done on the exterior would be this drop-down power steps, and these really sick billet cab lights that we've added on our F250s. So moving to the interior of this F250, you can see that we kept kind of the same styling idea, but we've gone through the effort. We've upgraded the dash from analog to Dakota digital gauges, so they look very classic, but it's going to upgrade the technology to digital so that your readouts are a lot more accurate and you have access to a lot more information that you wouldn't have had back then. We've also got the tilt steering wheel that you wouldn't have found so commonly back then. And then down here is going to be the Vintage Air AC. Now the air conditioning of today blows a lot colder than it did back then. The Vintage Air AC is a fantastic system. We use it in all of our builds, and it's going to keep the cab on the inside of this thing extremely cold. Completing the interior, we're moving to the door panel. This has a classic look to it, but this is actually a door panel that we design and make in-house, and then we hand wrap it, hand stitch everything. You can see in continuation, we have the Velocity billet package in the door handle and the window crate. Down here we have a high-end Focal audio system throughout this truck. Sounds significantly better than anything he would have had in the original vehicle, but it's also just packaged in a way so that it doesn't stand out. Now, one of the places where we might have deviated a little bit from the Ford engineers is this seat. Even though it's a traditional classic bench seat, we went with a high-end woven leather insert. This is Italian leather, has the striping on the inside that's going to match the color of the outside and the rest of the truck. It feels amazing, smells amazing, and this is one of the more luxurious high-end touches that we've added on the vehicle. And as Paul Walker would say,
pop the hood.
One of the other areas we know they would absolutely have made a lot of changes would be in the engine bay. In this instance, we have a 460 horse 5-liter Coyote. It's a Gen 3. It's mated to a 10R80 10-speed transmission. If you want something with a little more displacement, we also offer this build in a 7.3 Godzilla. These engines provide probably more than double the horsepower, more torque, they're a lot more efficient, and they're an extremely reliable platform to place in trucks like these. So one of the biggest changes that this truck would have experienced from 1972 to now is going to be in an area that you don't see all that much, the suspension and chassis underneath. So originally this would have had leaf springs all the way around, the bushings were questionable, the driving experience was, well, it was more of an industrial and farm truck style in driving experience. Versus today, coilovers on all four corners, sway bars, triangulated four-link in the front, Dana 44s and 60s, true track in the rear. This makes for an exceptional driving experience that is literally 180 degrees from what you would have experienced when this truck was brand new. So would Ford engineers have built a truck just like this back in 1972? We don't know for sure, but we certainly think they would have at least had an option similar to this. But the better question is, would you have built a truck like this back in 1972? Let us know down in the comments. All right, that's about all the time we have for today. If you have any questions about this truck or any of the other vehicles we have in our inventory, feel free to pick up the phone, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you, or hit us up on our website, velocityrestorations.com. We'll catch you guys on the next one.